Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Fairmont Area School Board. For roll call, all members are present with the exception of Mari Myron and Dan Brookins. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have the minutes before you. I'd entertain a motion to approve if they've been read.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Julie, second by Mike to approve the minutes for the October 10th, 2023 school board meeting as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have the agenda before us. I don't know of any changes myself. Anybody else have any changes?
If there's no changes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, second by Jen to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have some full house, it feels like tonight. We have our musical students here who are going to talk to us about the upcoming musical.
I brought a crew with me tonight. Thanks for having us. Again, we're so excited. My name is Sarah Goodall. I'm the director, one of the directors of the school musical. I have a wonderful, fabulous team that works with me. I do the stage direction. I have with us tonight Courtney Stuber, who's our choreographer. We also have Molly Blees, who is our vocal director, and Katie Hoagland, who is our orchestra director, and Mark Hernes, who is our technical director. So we have kind of a crew of people who are responsible for it. And this year we are bringing back a classic, The Wizard of Oz. We kind of alternate each year from something a little more modern to something a little more classic to try to give the kids a big, broad view of what theater is and the history of it. So this one was kind of near and dear to me because as a child I grew up watching this show and I feel like I know it. Surprisingly, our students are a little less familiar. I think enough time has passed that I've had to, teach a little bit about this show. So that part's been fun. We are going to open November 15th on a Wednesday for the Senior Citizen Matinee, which is always free at 12:30 at the Performing Arts Center. And then we will run evening shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. And that Saturday is always, of course, a question mark based on school activities, whether we do it Saturday or Sunday, but we'll be really public about keeping everyone in the loop for that. And I brought with me tonight some of our primary characters and cast members, and so I'd like each one of them to be able to step up and tell you who they are and what they're doing, and then if you have any further questions, I'll come back to the mic.
My name is Anthony Napier. I play the Cowardly Lion, and this is my second year in theater. And why I do theater, it's a really nice challenge, and it's quite fun, really.
I'm Wiley Frederickson. I play the Tin Man, and I do theater because it's fun. I get to hang out with friends, some people that I normally don't talk with, and just all in all, I mean, like Anthony said, it's quite a challenge to do it. So.
My name is Cooper Goodall. I'm playing the Scarecrow. This is my second year doing theater. The reason I do theater is that it creates a comfortable environment where any student, from any friend group, any other activities can be whoever they want, and it just provides somewhere that everyone can have a good time.
Hi, my name is Bryn Gustafson. I'm a senior. I've been doing theater for 10 years, so this is a bittersweet being a senior in theater. I play the Wicked Witch of the West, so I'm super excited to do that. My favorite part of theater is what Cooper said, just how you have so many people from different friend groups and different age groups, and we all just come together and enjoy being together, and we collaborate and work together, and it's just really fun meeting new friends, and I know I wouldn't have friends that I would have met if I didn't do theater, so I'm super grateful for that.
My name is Nora Trado. I'm a junior. I play Aunt M in The Wizard of Oz. And my favorite part of I've been in theater for 10 years, and my my favorite part of being in theater is the cast bonding moments and all the time we get to spend together to make new friends.
My name is Karis Goodall. I am the Royal Guard, the Emerald City Guard. This will be my 7th year in theater. I'm a junior. And I really enjoy being in theater because it's a really safe space and a safe environment for everybody. Like anyone can be in theater, and it's just a really great moment for everyone to come together and work together to create something really fun.
My name is Grace Simpson. I'm a junior and I play Glinda the Good Witch. I've been doing theater since I was in 3rd grade, so it's a lot of years. And I think my favorite part of being in theater is just the community and everyone coming together to create the best production that we can.
My name is Abby Pyman, and I'm playing Dorothy. And I've been in theater for as long as I can remember. And my favorite part about it is just meeting new people and putting myself outside my comfort zone, which I think is really important.
Okay, so just a few details. This year we had 91 students audition and make it into the cast, which is awesome. Well, I say make it. If you audition, you are in our cast. We find a spot for you. And 91 is a big, big, big number. So you can expect some really wow ensemble moments, some great music, some fantastic show-stopping numbers. I'm really excited about that. We have 13 crew members who put the show together and make every piece move. And this show in particular is a challenge because, okay, I'll be honest, when I picked it, I was thinking about the classic story and I was thinking about who we have and their voices and who was going to fit the characters and what we might bring to the table. I really didn't think about myself in terms of how hard is this particular show to stage. And it's a challenge. I didn't think about going from black and white to color in 8 measures of music, or flying a tornado, Miss Gulch on a bicycle, drop in a house, some smoke and fire. I didn't think about those things. So I feel like I am being challenged this year too, in a way. And those 13 crew members who will be showing up next week to learn how to put all those things together are going to be challenged in a way they have not been challenged before. And then we have 35 members in our pit orchestra. So this year we will have 139 students participating in the show, and that is a number that makes me feel excited. I was just telling Courtney before we started, I feel a little bit like we're ushering in a new era on the stage. Last year we graduated 30 seniors. That was a huge number and a lot of experience. And you know that some of my core members who've been in it a long time are here, but we have a lot of new faces with only 2 or 3 years experience who are still young and have 2 or 3 more years to give us. So to me, I just see the future of our program continuing and growing and building, and all of those things make me so proud, and these kids are fantastic. I can't wait, and I hope you guys can all come out and see the show. Do you have any questions or wonderings?
So how do you do a tornado in the gym
Well,
or the Performing Arts Center?
I'm not going to lie. I have to talk to my custodial department a little bit about how crazy I can get, but Mr. Borchardt's he's very supportive. So as long as I stay in the safety
I mean, if you want to keep
parameters,
the secrets,
I
I mean,
can do
that's
it.
fine. But honestly, I wouldn't have thought of that either.
Yeah.
And, that is the big part of the Wizard of Oz.
It really is. And doing a little research, we have 2 choices. Some schools opt for projections, which is just putting a film up on a screen and having it play in the background. Other schools opt for having humans and people engineer the tornado. And so we're in the second category. We have a lot of people, and I'm going to use the manpower rather than the visuals, I think. So we've got some tricks up our sleeve. This might be a really good time for me to talk about the volunteers that we have, the adult volunteers who help put these things together, because I could not function without them. Mary Schmidt has been our longtime builder. She puts all those pieces together herself. She's phenomenal. I couldn't could not do it without her. In addition, we have James Miller, Jay Schmidt, and Tamaray Schmidt who do all of the special stuff, and also Andrea Miller and her mom Beth Christensen are doing costuming for us this year. 91 bodies is a lot of bodies, so they are stitching and sewing, and Jay is kind of a master of creating special effects. So when I say to him, I need a tornado, he goes, and I say I need a hot air balloon. A hot air balloon. I have to have one of those. I need, he just goes home and says, let me see what I can do. And so every night that they show up, they bring new ideas. And Tamaray is actually kind of in charge of our tornado. So I'll leave that to your imagination, but please come. I'd love for you to see it.
Well, that just is enough to make anybody come. So.
You gonna have a real dog?
Oh, that was a big question. We really had to make a decision about Toto. My personal family dog, Callie, played Sandy when we did Annie 6 years ago. And Abby actually was Annie, and so she and Callie got very bonded, and I thought this might be a good opportunity for them to reprise their partnership. But Callie has aged significantly. She's 12, and I did bring her into school a few times to see if she could handle the lights and the noise and the people, and I think we may be past that point in her age where she just gets tired and lays down, and that's it. So I think we're going to opt for not having a real dog this year, but we're just kind of working around that with stuffed dog this time.
My math tells me you've got over 16% of the student body involved in this.
That's pretty.
That's
That's great.
just fantastic.
I'm going to shoot for 20. I'm working on it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm just going to add too, one of the things like you as a board have always asked about, like continue asking the question, what's next? And for this program, there's a lot of growth yet in some very exciting facilities-based things that we've been having some discussions on. So that is on the horizon too. A number of years ago, we invested in upgrading the seating in the facility. A couple of years ago, we invested in the stage to provide a more theatrical experience with the proper color and all the things with the staging. Next on the horizon is lighting. Our lighting board is circa 1987, I believe.
Correct.
And we hold our breath nearly every performance in year. And so that the theater department has gotten the go-ahead to begin researching and getting quotes for the replacement of our lighting. So that's exciting to offer a state-of-the-art experience for our students there, as well as exploring the opportunity of opening our pit back up for our orchestra. At the professional level, they use an actual pit for the orchestra. As of late, our students have been behind a curtain backstage. It provides a different experience, and so we are also exploring what that would take to reopen that in the future. Unfortunately, we can't make it happen for this year's performance, but those are things on the horizon. And when we have facilities inside our building, oftentimes the public doesn't see the investments that we are making, but our theater program, our fine arts, our music, are such a highlight of what the student experience, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention some of those things that we're beginning to explore. Mrs. Goodall also mentioned today seeing what it would take to get I forget what you called it, a structure in the stage that would turn.
Yeah, I
basically.
have a company who's going to look at bidding for us, see what it would cost to put a turntable in on the stage. So we have a stage that rotates, which is something a lot of high-end auditoriums have and would completely change what we could do visually. And then a hydraulic lift so that we could get up off the floor and give secondary levels without having to build those things out of lumber. So
Right. And so I just want to know, none of these things are guaranteed, but
Right.
we've challenged this department with is think possibilities without limitations. And then let's create the scope of what we can make possible for our students to continue enhancing their experience. So a lot of exciting things that have been done are currently being done, and the future of the program is exciting as well. So thank you for your investment in time for you as students and as directors, and because it doesn't go unnoticed and it shows in the production that our kids put on. So
thank
we're
you.
excited to see what comes together.
Thank you.
I
Have a
didn't
good
know
day.
that turntable is very exciting. I don't know, can you get 35 people in that old pit? I didn't realize it was closed.
Oh, it is huge. And we did, Mr. Borchert actually opened it so we could peek in it and just take a look at what we're talking. It is massive. Yeah. we could get more than 35 in there if we had a chance to use it again. But it's a lot deeper than I was expecting. It has to be higher than person height on the front end, and then that's the floor. So then we have the stage, which is another almost 5 feet. So it's yeah. It's deeper than I knew, but I'm excited about the possibility down the road. All right, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, and good
Heading
luck.
off to rehearsal.
Tonight we have another exciting treat. We have Representative Bjorn Olson here to talk with us.
I've never been described as a treat.
Or exciting.
Or exciting. I don't know that either. Mike, you don't need
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
So at least I wasn't introduced as a, and up next we have a presentation because I didn't prepare a presentation. This is me. I try every year after session to go to all my school boards, go to all my county commissions, go to all my city councils, talk to them, introduce myself if I haven't already met them, and just tell them that I'm here for you. Kind of, I feel like have got a little bit better of a relationship with Fairmont. So Andy and I, we sat down before this school year started. We sat down before last school year started. We have pretty decent conversations about education and how I can bring common sense up to St. Paul. It sometimes feels like we have a lot of common sense here, and then we talk about these things, and then you go up there, and then the further north you get, the less common the sense is, and then once you get a little bit past St. Paul, things start making sense a little bit more. But people kind of lose their way there at the Capitol. So one thing I've come to realize is that the state of Minnesota does a really good job of kind of handcuffing a lot of our local entities. So our school boards are handcuffed, our cities are handcuffed, and our counties are handcuffed by the state. And I know you have to kind of sit back and say it's got to be for a good reason, right? But sometimes the good reasons were 50 years ago. Sometimes the reasons don't make sense anymore. And that's where we need to have these conversations. These good ideas need to go up to St. Paul and then not get lost in all the craziness that's going on there. So I know we threw a lot at you this year. I didn't want to throw that much at you. You have I don't know.
Nice of you to say we. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't. I argued against some of those things pretty fiercely, but there's a lot of changes. I hope you're getting through those. My hope, I've been going to a lot of the school boards, and the theme has always kind of been, let us teach our kids. And one thing that I've realized is I've gone to, this year alone, I've hit Blue Earth, and I've hit Maple River already. I've hit Lake Crystal. I'm here, haven't made it to GHEC yet, but I went to Truman Schools just a couple days ago, and I've got MCW on the list for next week or something like that. And I always kind of stop and I say, can you, before I leave, give me a one-sentence phrase that I should take up to, like a theme that I should take up to St. Paul? And nearly every single one has been, let us teach our kids. And that's what I just was told in Truman the other day. They basically said, we know how to educate our kids. Let us do it. And that's something that I've always wanted to bring up there. A little bit of a background on me. I spent 8 years as a social studies teacher over in Blue Earth. So when you're talking about education to me, you can use medium-sized words. Don't use the really big words. Those confuse me still. But you don't need to use the 3 or 4 letter word when you're talking about education. I do have a fairly, I wouldn't say decent, I have an understanding of some things educationally related. But I thank you for being here, for what you do. If you look at my card, you'll see that you've got my office number, you've got my cell phone number. If you call the office, you're going to get a really nice guy. His name is Carl. He's going to answer the phone. He's then going to call me, tell me that you called, and then I'm going to call you. So if you would like to cut out the middleman, he's a really nice middleman, but just call the cell phone, and I'm here for you. Fairmont Schools is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful district that we find ourselves in. I think that this is a prime example of what we can do when the school board really digs down deep into it and fights for their kids, because what you do is some of the most spectacular stuff in the state. Like, for real, the vocational stuff that you've got going on, this 130 kids involved in the musical, holy smokes. You've got some really awesome stuff. You've got talented people working for you. And I feel blessed that we're a part of this district, you know, even though my kids are still pretty young, but this is a great place to be. Any questions of me? That one theme, that one sentence theme I still need before I'll leave. Otherwise, I'll just stand here all night, I guess, until I get it.
Well, I won't let you stand here and do nothing, but the one comment you did make about of handcuffing of the county, the city, and the school board, just so people are aware that the handcuffs are different for like the school board versus county and city. And so, you know, yes, you know, just so that, you know, that is, you're aware that the public is aware that we're not all the same. We're not equal as that as well. So, you know, I do appreciate though, yes, I know there's a lot of changes that were done, but I do appreciate the state for some guidance, you know, of how to educate. Yes, we can educate our students and we do it very well, I believe, but we do appreciate the guidance that is given to us. So those are just the two things I wanted to bring forth.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. I don't think anyone up in St. Paul would argue that you just figure it out on your own. I don't think anyone would argue that. But I think when you're talking about handcuffs, yeah, there are 3 different types of handcuffs, and they still are. In some ways, some of them are looser and some of them are tighter.
Right. Exactly.
And it's issue
But that's
dependent.
something that not just the general person maybe even understands. And so, you know, financing, I mean, everything is just a little bit different from each one of those 3 major entities of our state. So.
Oh yeah, and try figuring out and try to understand
Exactly.
that. You know, you're drinking from you're drinking from a fire hose your first year,
Yeah.
trying to figure out all those different ways.
I would suggest that the number of, I'll say, unfunded mandates grew. I still don't know if we have a level number. I mean, the policy reviews are one thing, doing policies that have fiscal impact on the district. That's something different. And I don't think many of your colleagues either paid attention to, you know, there's multiple associations that lobby the education issues. Superintendent's Association, the Public School Administrators Association, the Teachers Union. Like, there's many players, and I just, it's very clear that a lot of those voices were ignored, and I think we're seeing that as we're sifting through all of these changes. And the unfunded mandate component, I think, has been underreported and ignored a little bit. And the other thing is, from my perspective, is there are some things that you can, the one-size-fits-all approach to education, frankly, doesn't work. There are other things that are uniform amongst all kids at certain ages of development. Yes, we know that. But culturally, socioeconomically, location within the state, very different. Those buildings in these districts look different. The extracurriculars that different districts have look different. The idea that here's a mandate or here's a plan that you're all going to have to apply uniformly and then expect uniform, similar success from those results is just not reality, and I think that gets ignored sometimes. You're identifying, you know, common sense here locally looks different than maybe it does 130 miles north of here. You know, it looks different 350 miles northwest of here too. That local control piece, you know, generally we're all elected by the same constituency. We're closer to the people. We're close. We represent the people that pay the taxes that run this place. It's okay to let us be in control of more things that the people here want or don't want, whatever it might be. And I think that message was lost in that last session, but I know you're not hearing anything from me that you don't already know.
I would agree with that, and then part of that would be is also that not all districts are equal in that, you know, where we've got the metro versus greater Minnesota and stuff, or we're looking at in our neighboring districts with, you know, luckily our enrollment is maintaining, whereas we've got neighboring districts who are declining in enrollment, and, you know, in the metro we're seeing, you know, increasing where they're, you know, so like I said, sometimes when, you know, I can take a recipe out of my recipe book and I can make the recipe as it is. And so, but if I don't have the eggs or I don't have an option in that, then I have to improvise or put it on the counter and go to the store to get what I need. But sometimes that's where the state doesn't always remember either that sometimes those particles aren't always the same pieces. The puzzles aren't exactly the same. So, that's another point. But I do.
I love it. So one size doesn't fit all, and the puzzle pieces aren't all the same.
I'm
Exactly.
told that my mic wasn't on when I said those things, so I'll just refer to the things I said previously that were smart.
Well, your mic
and-
isn't on now
and
either.
you can ignore
Well,
the
lights
things I
burned
said that weren't smart. I'm sorry, Jonas. It goes on and then it turns off. You're blocking me when I'm saying dumb things. That's fine.
Perfect. Anything else for me? Otherwise, I know you have a great challenge educating the future of our area, of our state, and of the country. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. Coming from someone who fought in the trenches in the schools, I know how difficult it is to educate kids, and you're the ones on the very front lines. So thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it.
I just want to say thanks for being here, Representative Olson, and I appreciate, from our interactions, your level of accessibility for those listening and for all of our constituents that you represent in our region. Thank you for that, because that goes a long way at the local level, specifically with the school operations. So I definitely appreciate that and your willingness to engage with us. Thank you.
Yeah, well, for the record, when the superintendent called me to tell me it was here, I did answer.
Yes.
So
Yes,
thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bjorn.
All right, we'll move on to superintendent report and calendar.
Yeah, as we start off each report, as Julie alluded to, after an ambitious enrollment number communicated in August, I said we would settle in throughout the school year, and that we have. We're currently at 1,711 students, a couple below where we were this time a year ago. Some buildings and grounds updates. The Cardinal.
Can I ask you a quick question about
yes.
that? I'm sorry. It looks like it's pretty static at the elementary, and a little bit more changing at the high school.
Yep.
Is that seems expected?
Yeah, I would say that's more typical than not. And we have one of our social workers in the audience who tracks a lot of attendance, and I think that's pretty or more common at the secondary level than that we see more fluidity than we do at the elementary level. And with that, in August our numbers were trending very positively, and that at that time, like I said, it was ambitious and it all but guaranteed that our enrollment was going to remain stable, and that's what it's done. So we're grateful. Obviously grateful, as Julie alluded to, that we have had stable enrollment over the last couple of years. So very good. Good question, though, Mike. Back to the buildings and grounds, the Cardinal Park Fieldhouse project continues to make progress. We'll also be engaging an interesting project that our Director of Buildings and Grounds has initiated. Due to the local presence of emerald ash borer, we have a large number of ash trees on our school property. So Tyler has taken that on. He applied for a grant for some tree replacement projects. Unfortunately, we did not receive those funds. Other projects were selected, but we have gone forward with that project. We will begin, you'll start to see some removal of our ash trees, and for every one we remove, we will be planting at least one new tree with a focus on a variety of tree species. So for generations to come, we don't end up in the same
Is there
scenario.
a recommendation for a species of tree to replace? Because, through Fairmont we all can go through, sorry, I didn't mean to swallow that. But as we go through Fairmont and even some of the other towns, you can all see where the ash borers are, hitting. And so is there a recommendation as to what is being replaced, what tree is replacing it, or are we just kind of on our own to do what we want?
Tyler has worked with arborists and tree specialists, and it is a variety. I don't remember the specific names. I know Mike and Nicole, you're on operations, but it is a variety. It's not that we're going to replace with all evergreen or all maple, or it'll be lindenwood.
Different kinds of maple.
Yep.
Because like the white pine is also seeing, I'm seeing
Yeah.
that in some of in our groves, and
Sure.
that the white pines are having some issues as well. And so I don't think that there is basically anything that is ever going to be safe.
Yep. And I know he's been in contact with the Martin County Soil and Water Conservation District to get their recommendations to make
Okay.
sure that we're doing it right and that we're setting ourselves up for long-term
Sure.
success. Because a lot of our trees are old, and a lot of them are ash trees and really mature trees, and it'll be sad to see them go. But
well,
we'll do
that's
it
kind of what
gradually
was
and as we
replacing
need
the
to.
elm trees when Dutch elm
Yeah.
disease set in. So
So it'll be a variety. Another good question there. Gonna move over to CER Day, recognizing our community education recreation. Due to the timing of our school board meetings, we meet tonight, and then we don't meet again until November 14th, is actually the second Tuesday in November. And in that time, we recognize Community Education Recreation Day in the state of Minnesota. Stephanie is at a conference tonight, so she was unable to join us, but she did provide an excerpt to read in recognition of that day. So as a school and as a community, we're excited to celebrate National Community Education Day, which will be on November 9th. It's important for us to recognize our partners that play an integral role in providing educational and recreational opportunities for our communities. Fairmont area schools, the city of Fairmont, our instructors that work through CER, local business sponsors, countless volunteers, and most importantly, the participants from youth through adult. Stephanie wants to just extend that thank you for the support and participation from our community, and to help celebrate by engaging in social media campaigns during the week of November 6th. They appreciate the opportunity to serve you and we as a school district, because CER is an entity of the district. Enjoy that opportunity to serve our communities through providing educational and recreation opportunities. So that will, again, CER Day is November 9th, and we'd be remiss to not mention that. Lastly, I wanted to provide a school district update on the school event streaming services. At the end of September, we confirmed a multi-year commitment with Huddle, which is an online entity that has been used by boys and girls basketball and football in past years to house recorded games, statistical analysis, and opponent scouting software. Coaches and student athletes have had individual accounts and will continue to have access to that. The new contract, however, expands these services to include 11 total activities and the Performing Arts Center as needed. For some of the activities, it also provides 24-hour statistical analysis for several different avenues. Additionally, our home events hosted here at the school will be streamed to the consumer without a charge. The district will maintain ownership of the content. And uniquely, our students will be able to archive their own events and will be able to make their own highlight reels to share with others directly or on their social media accounts as well. And along with that, Huddle is also the primary recruiting tool used at the collegiate level for all of our student athletes who may aspire to participate in that realm beyond high school. One important note, as we had our theater program, all of our performing arts concerts will continue to be streamed either by our students and staff of our media productions classes or as needed on the Huddle platform. And some of our musicals based on licensure are allowed. I think a couple of years ago we were able to stream Beauty and the Beast. Last year and this year we are not able to do that. That's all based on the licensing and the associated pieces there. It is also estimated that the change is going to save our school district and our taxpayers approximately $350,000 over the next decade. And our goal will be to have this service fully operational in the near future and accessible for the winter activity season. On that note, I also want to take an opportunity on behalf of the school district to offer an apology to our stakeholders for the manner in which some recent communication has taken place regarding the cancellation of some streaming services through the school district. Specifically in response to an event we had scheduled to be streamed on October 13th, it's important to note that the school district was not initially made aware of that cancellation, nor were we contacted to devise an alternative means to allow that streaming to take place. And while this particular event gained some attention, it's also valuable to consider the fact that for years, many of our school events and activities had been rarely, if at all, streamed due to a variety of circumstances. That's something I know I've talked about with our student school board reps as well, and we're looking to improve upon that always. So again, we apologize that service was not able to be provided as anticipated, and we'll continue to work to improve these communications in the future. And if anyone ever has any questions Regarding the future of streaming and media productions at Fairmont area schools, I ask that you please contact the district office, and we will be more than happy to make arrangements to schedule a meeting to answer any questions that you have. And we value all of our offerings our students get to take part in, from our academics to our fine arts to our athletics. And we certainly appreciate the continued support of our students in all the activities. So with that, that concludes my report. Our next school board meeting, as I mentioned, will be November 14th, right here in the Bud Room.
Question I have on that streaming, I know there was some discussion on Facebook that I saw this afternoon, but the playoff games that are the football playoff game, did you find out anything as to, are we able to stream that at all? Or
There are specific parameters in place, and we did fill out the form and submit it to the State High School League. For that, it did not get processed, and we're looking into why that was the case, but we're continuing to explore that option. I do know the State High School League does not allow you to charge for those services, which we haven't, but that's a good question. And we have been taking appropriate action. We're currently looking into that as well.
Okay, thank you. I just know that there was, like I said, some questions. So.
Yep.
In talking with activities director Mahoney recently about Huddle, I think students are going to love it. We're going to expand it to almost every sport that we can reasonably have a camera. Unfortunately, we don't have drone footage for maybe a cross-country meet at this point, but there's even opportunities there. I think our goal as a district is to always be continuously improving the student experience. No one can hear what I'm saying because I'm on mute. Now it's back on again. We're always striving to improve the student experience. This Huddle app is remarkable. It is something that I think people are going to be very happy with, and both what the students can do with it, doing their own highlight films, to send to their, grandma or grandpa in Florida, or doing their own promotion, or looking at it 5 years from now. I just think it's been a while since we've modernized that opportunity, and I'm excited for it. And the fact that it's going to save us hundreds of thousands of dollars is kind of icing on the cake for me. So more to come, but yeah, it's exciting.
It is. It's still, I think it's in its early stages. I tried to watch a game and I was frozen for most of the game. So I don't know if it was just where I was at and that. So I'm sure we're in our early stages. So let's hope for bigger and better things.
That's a good point, Julia. Brand new for us, maybe. The Huddle's been around. They're
Yep.
the industry leader with not just locally, like I think the United States. So that's important to note. This isn't some startup that we just found out of Mankato.
No.
This is the real deal.
But like I said, the first time that I tried to view it, it just was, the screen was frozen, and so I restarted, and a lot of things you normally do, but I would expect some of that just with it being new in our district and that it would just get better, and as we work the kinks and stuff out, it'll be better for the kids.
And our activities director, Mr. Mahoney, will be here at the November 14th meeting to give a full report on that service as well, and go into greater detail and answer more questions at that time too.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any further questions for Superintendent Trado? All right, we will move on to financial business. Jessica?
Yes. So you have the wire transfer sheet in front of you. That is, again, a pretty small sheet, nothing remarkable on there. And then you have the bill batch in front of you for the October 24th bills. Just the one major one that I wanted to point out is due to the 2023 legislative changes. We do have a check in there for the Minnesota Unemployment Fund of $75,863.96. So that is different. And then with that, there should be, as long as there's funding related reimbursement from the state. So, do you have any questions on any of the other bills at all? No?
If there are no questions, I would then move to make a motion to approve the wire transfers for October 5th, 2023 to October 18th, 2023, and payment of the October 24th, 2023 bills.
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, a second by Jen to approve the financial bills that occurred in the past 2 weeks. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We have no old business. Moving on to new business, substitute teacher incentive plan.
I can make a motion. So, at operations, we discussed how to have a market competitive substitute teacher pay situation.
Here.
That's right. And operations committee recommends that we make some changes which would increase the pay to there's 3 tiers basically. Number of days in a given month that a person would be a substitute within our building would result in a different pay situation.
So what I see as a difference is that there is 3 different levels versus 4 levels, correct?
Correct.
And it allows our substitutes to reach the highest tier sooner.
Okay.
Correct. And so
Yeah.
the tiers would be 165, 180, and 200 per day, depending on how many days per month that you are working within our building. Obviously, if you're here longer, then that tier is higher.
Sure.
So,
Are we having issues with getting substitutes?
It depends. It depends on the day, really. I
Depends on the
think
day, or
every school
depend on
district
how
would-
many?
Yeah, every school district would
openings.
answer yes to that question in today's market, and
Okay.
that's where previously you see our day 1 rate was $150. It was there for the last number of years, so the day 1 rate now is raised to $165 dollars, and then once you get to 7 days, then it goes to 180, and then once you hit 13, it goes to $200
Per month.
per day.
per day.
Yeah,
Yeah, but.
and then it's
13
resets
number of
resets
days
every
per
month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then is that a calendar month, or is that because our school district gets
Calendar month.
Yeah, it's
It's a
defined by
calendar.
the school district
because it's
calendar
we
and the
pay
calendar month.
teachers on call as being a separate service?
Correct.
Okay.
So, based on that review and recommendation from the operations committee, I make a motion that we modify our substitute teacher incentive plan as 165 per day for 1 through 6 days, 180 per day for 7 through 12 days, and then $200 per day for any substitute teacher working 13 or more days in a calendar month.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mike and a second by Jen. Any further discussion?
And this
or
would be
question?
effective, I see, just November 1st, so for the next month. that
Correct.
It will be effective.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel, Mike?
We have a resignation that we are being asked to accept. Carrie Madsen, who is a special ed professional, has asked that we accept her resignation effective October 16th, 2023, and I make that motion.
Second.
I think we have a motion by Mike, second by Julie, to accept the resignation of Carrie Madsen. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to board committee reports, CER Advisory Council. Mari was not here. Were you in attendance?
I was not in attendance at
Okay,
this meeting
then
this
we'll
month.
do that next time. Operations Committee, Mike?
Sure. As I mentioned, we assessed the substitute teacher pay to make sure it was market competitive. Talked about the tree situation, and that's how I know Linden's 2 different kinds of maple, and there was another tree that Tyler talked about as well. I can't remember which one it was. Using a local tree outfit to do the job, so he's on top of that. We had continuing conversations about due diligence regarding the Hunt Farm lease. I think that's coming back to the board on the 14th? Today? Tonight.
Yep. Closed session.
Closed session, but a decision, one or the other, will be back
Correct.
on the 14th. We also continue to evaluate the rental fees. That's still an ongoing due
For the
diligence process.
facility rental fees?
Yeah.
Correct, right. Goal is to simplify that both for the district management of it, but also the users that would want to rent our space. a lot of opportunity for simplification and clarification there. And then we also discussed from Mr. Trado, the Open Door Health Clinic situation that's still undergoing legal review. Something should be at the board. I don't know, Andy. When's the goal to have something for the full board for consideration on that?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of finishing up going through the legal comments that were provided by our school attorney. I actually just had a message today from the director of the Open Door Health Center to connect on a call to review those changes. We'll then bring it to an operations committee meeting and then invite them to be present at a full board meeting so all 6 members have the opportunity to ask questions. And then at the following board meeting is when we would likely vote on that that potential.
Maybe year end, but maybe January.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any questions for Mike regarding the operations committee meeting or myself? All right, now we'll move on to, we'd like to hear from our student board members.
So we didn't have a lot that we talked about at the last meeting, but the one thing that we did talk about was having a couple more meetings with our student council and our school board. So last year we only had one, and it was towards the end of the year. And I think we talked about a lot of things that were helpful and beneficial, but there just wasn't a lot of time to act on them. And so we talked about doing, I think, 3 this year. Was it November, January, and March?
Yeah, so November, February, and April.
So, okay,
somewhere
something
around
like
there.
that. Yep.
Yeah,
But
it's
doing 3 this year, and then we might even try to do one at the elementary school where we can have the school board meet with the elementary school student council, and then have some of our older student council members go over to that meeting as well to try to get a connection throughout all of the different levels.
Well, there's already one on the schedule for Friday, November 17th
Yeah, I
at the
think-
elementary
yep.
school for the student council. So if anybody saw their school board calendar, it is listed
Okay.
on there just to make that, make everybody aware.
I think that's a great idea. I also would suggest that you don't need to wait for a meeting if you want to send us a message individually or as a group, though individually is usually easier for us to respond to because of open meeting law requirements. But doors always open, emails are always open. I always want to hear what the students have to say. And I think my suggestion would be that prior to those meetings, which are I think important to schedule, have some issues brought up to us ahead of time so we can have a more detailed conversation. You know, if it's something we got to think about, I think having an opportunity to know what's important to the students ahead of time might allow us to be better problem solvers in a shorter period of time.
Well, at
Just
least
something to think about.
make us look like we have thought about what we say versus kind of scraping the bottom and wondering. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an important relationship to grow and build, and and if you don't have our emails, Mr. Trado can get them for you. But yeah, let us know what you think. I think that you know, some of us don't have students in the building, or some of us only have one student in the building, and that's just one grade. And knowing what's important to an 11th grader is something that I can't personally, I don't really know unless someone that's a junior tells me what they think is important. So
Our contact information is on the webpage, so.
always reach out. Speak truth to power is what I've told people in your seat before, and that's an important piece of the process.
All right, and then the other major thing that we talked about was, as we discussed earlier, the use of Huddle and how we would now be using that to stream all our sporting events from now on, or other stuff that's going on in the school building. And I think that's super great too, because I know not only are the spectators excited to have that option if they can't make it in person, but also the students to see all the cool features that that's going to offer for us. So I won't talk about it too much, because I know we spent a lot of time discussing it earlier, but I know everyone's pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for Abby or Grace? All right, we'll move on in our agenda. Thank you. Does anyone want to make a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve closing the school board meeting per Minnesota Statute 13D.05 to enter into a closed session to discuss the Hunt Farm property.
Second.
I think we have a motion by Julie and a second by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will meet in the district office, and following our meeting, we'll be back in here to reopen this meeting and adjourn it. So, thank you.